Hello guys, good day everyone. So once again I'm here after quite some time. I think this is the first time I'm in front of the camera, so thank you everyone for supporting the channel. First of all, for subscribing the channel, keeping a faith in my this small venture. So thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you guys. And as we all know that yesterday the NEET 2020, the long awaited session, it got over yesterday. So I'm actually here just to give an overall analysis of the entire paper, how it went by topic or by subject, all right? So it's just like any other sessions, you know, which you might have encountered, like once you have finished the exam yesterday. Mostly you might have gone through all these analyses. It's more or less going to be the same, but I will go into a bit detail about how it was different from the previous year and how this exam is going to affect your cut-off this year if you're from the general section especially. So I would like to go in detail about the overall scores and those kind of things. We'll be discussing that. So I will just make it quick, maybe like 12 to 14 or 15 minutes tops. That's the time which I'm aiming. So let us jump into it. Before that, I would like to congratulate personally on my behalf to all the students who have waited a very long time for the exam, because there was a lot of emotional turmoil was going on, isn't it? So which even my students, they were telling the same thing. They were also facing this stress because they don't know, they didn't know that whether this particular exam is it's going to happen or not until yesterday. So anyways, it was over, so hopefully everything went well, and that's all. I would like to personally congratulate them for being strong, so hanging in there, continuing with their studies and doing their efforts as much as possible. You guys are simply awesome. So I would like to thank you and congratulate you on the entire fraternity, teaching fraternity. Anyway, so let us go back to the paper analysis. All right. So yes, so even though this is very basic things and you guys are familiar with it, but I would like to just few things which I would like to mention, which you guys actually know, that the total number of colleges which you could actually see from here, and the same condition, same thing is for the private colleges, deemed universities, like what are the number of seats. So totally, by writing the NEET exam, those students who can get into MPBS is going to be 66,771, and those who can go into the BDS, dental science, that's going to be 27,418. So overall we have like approximately 85,000 plus seats, including MBBS as well as dental, right? So this is something which you guys are already know, as well as this is the first examination. NEET UG 2020 was the first examination which was conducted without AIMS and JIPMA. There used to be an exam like AIMS and JIPMA. So this year we didn't had that AIMS and JIPMA exam. So yeah, this is the first time. Now about the NEET UG 2020. So as you can see from the numbers that in 2017 it was approximately 11 lakh students, and now it's 1.3 million when it came to 2018. So 1.4 2019, and right now the exam which was conducted yesterday, so it is on September 13, yes, to be precise. It is approximately 1.53 million students. So obviously the difficulty level and the competition is going to increase. That's obvious, pretty obvious. More number of people, more screening, less number of seats, because the number of seats remains constant, and the number of students who are writing the exam, who appear for the exam, who are competing against you, that have increased. So however, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be scared about that fact. So let's go into the next slide. So here, this is the overall paper analysis of 2020. Again, even though we say that public opinion doesn't matter, but in a competitive exam like this, especially when approximately 1.5 million students are appearing, so we must take into account how others have done, right? Because that is going to significantly affect our rank, and it is going to significantly affect our dream college, the seats, the cutoff, these kind of things, right? So if everyone has done pretty well, then the chances for us is less. But what if most of the students are doing like kind of okay or bad, then our chances are increasing. So we have to. So it's like an overall thing we have just conducted with the HODs, with my colleagues and myself, right? So yeah, this is it. Botany papers, the first, it was average, and mostly it was like NCERT based questions, and that's how it was. Some questions were analytical in nature, few, right? When it comes to chemistry, when we are analyzing the chemistry paper, what I got the responses from the subject experts, it was most of the questions were easy NCERT based, let us say, and they were moderate, right? And one of the few confusion that the students told that the calculations were pretty lengthy when it came to chemistry for some questions, so that made a small difficulty for them. That's the only problem which I could get from for students. And if I talk about physics paper was actually easy. So I'm not saying from my perspective. From the students itself, the paper was okay, it was easy. Why I'm saying that? Even if a student who have studied just NCERT and a little bit of preparation in physics, they could easily do the paper. So, and this is negative for the students who have actually done pretty well in their preparation. They have spent a lot of time for their studies. They have done a very good amount of preparation for their examination in terms of physics. If I say that for them it's negative, but for the overall population of students, it was actually pretty good news, because the paper was actually easy, right? When it comes to zoology, which is again conceptual and NCERT based, well, NCERT is the Bible. NCERT is the Bible for biology, especially when it comes to biology, for botany as well as zoology. So that's it. That was the paper overall, how it is. Now, the overall analysis, if you consider the questions from the grade 11 was 78 from total, and the questions from grade 12 was 102, totally 180 questions. But here also, don't think that you don't have to learn grade 11 and we can only focus on grade 12, because that's not going to happen. Why it is not going to happen is pretty simple, that we can't if your grade 11 is not strong, if your grade 11 is not perfect, your grade 12 is obviously going to be pretty bad and it's going to be pretty difficult. All right, the number of questions from grade 11, number of questions from grade 12. Now let us go back to the overall analysis of chapter wise for physics. If you consider the physics, there were 40 easy questions and 5 medium questions. There were no difficult questions as such, except for one question there is a free expansion question. If you guys have noticed already, that there were adiabatic process and isothermal, both can be an option actually. That is a small confusion in the question. Other than that, there no such questions were there which were considered to be very difficult. And so the overall paper was comparatively easy, right? So now it comes to chemistry. There were 34 easy questions, 10 medium questions and 1 difficult question. So overall out of 45, and compared to last year, we can say that the chemistry paper, it went moderate pretty well. And botany, there were 7 easy questions, 25 medium questions, 12 difficult questions, and so overall out of 44 questions, we can say that it was moderate but confusing when compared to the last year. Now, when it comes to zoology, there were 18 questions and 20 which was medium, 8 was difficult, and as you could see over here, the total number of questions were 46. It was again moderate as well as confusing. That was the overall thing. But most of the questions from botany as well as zoology was based on NCERT, right? So totally out of 180 questions, as you could see from here, 99 questions were easy, which is more than 50% of the questions were actually easy, right? Now, the class-wise distribution. So here you can see that grade 12 portions were approximately 67-68% were actually grade 12 from the physics actually, and grade 11 questions. The questions from grade 11 is more or less approximately 32-33%. But again, if your grade 11 is not strong, and if your grade 11 is you are not prepared very well in grade 11, your grade 12 is going to be pretty difficult. So we have to concentrate that. I'm stressing that again, your grade 11 must be strong, right? Now, just a small talk on the physics paper, but generally the students are kind of stressed. Whoever is the students who are preparing for the next year or be next to next year, everyone please listen to this properly, that here the number of questions, especially in electricity and magnetism, that's the most stronger part. 13 questions were asked from that part itself. Out of 45, 13 questions, right? So now if you see here that the 10 questions were easy and 3 were medium, so overall 13 questions were asked, which is a pretty strong number. So which means if your electricity and magnetism is strong enough, you can score 13 questions, you can make it right. Now when it comes to mechanics, which is a difficult portion for most of the students, but the number of questions asked was only 6, even though that's a good number, but when compared to 13, 6 is a small number, right? So here the total number of questions were 6, pretty direct, formula based questions were there. Now when it comes to optics, there were 4 questions, and out of that 3 were easy and 1 was medium. No difficult questions were asked from the optics part. Now when it comes to modern physics, all right, 7 questions were asked. If you compare modern physics and mechanics, mechanics is more time consuming and more difficult for the students in general, but modern physics questions are pretty direct. That's the reason why when we are giving the lectures, we specify and stress on this point that the students must study modern physics a lot. That compared to the question, see, 7 questions were from the modern physics, while 6 questions were asked from mechanics. So modern physics has a very good role in rising up your rank, all right? So, and thermal physics, there were 5 questions, and the rest of the topics like waves, matter properties, fluids and all, properties of solids, from there we got like 10 questions, and 9 were easy and 1 was medium. So overall paper went comparatively easy, especially when we compare with the previous year, all right, question papers. So this is just the cutoff of what it was there, and mostly I'm not going to specify a lot about 2020 because the cutoff you will officially get from the government authorities. But based on our experience, based on my experience, based on my just conversation with various subject experts from India and abroad, we come to this conclusion about the 2020 cutoff approximately for the general category. And please keep in mind that this OBC and the list for SC/ST is not the same, but I'm just it's just for the general category as well as for the OBC, SC/ST. It's different. I'm not going to specify that on here. So anyhow, with the and in my this particular part, I'll be discussing more into the general category because that's what most of the students are looking into, right? So in 2017 it was 131, 2018 it was 139, 2019 it was 134, and 2020 approximately, since the number of students were easy, and based on my it's just my personal opinion, it is going to be approximately 145 or 150. That's going to be, because this paper was also easy. And again, if you want to actually do pretty well, for example, if you want to go into your dream college, a government college, I personally believe that you should be having a score of 550 plus to be in your dream college. I would like to say that, I would like to specify this, to be in your dream college or a college sponsored by the Central University or something. I believe that your score should be 550 plus. So as I have already mentioned, if you want to get into your dream college, you have to get like 550 plus. As I told you, to be in a government college, to be in a good college, in a good university, which comes under the Central University, you have to get a minimum score of 550 plus. And this is what we personally believe, this is what I personally believe from my experience, right? So those who have already done the paper pretty well, please be happy. Obviously you should be, right? And those who feel like I haven't done this paper well, don't be disheartened. Try it again. If you want to become a doctor, if you want to serve the humanity, if you want to serve the society, right? So irrespective of whether you want to become an engineer, you want to become a doctor, which you want to become a scientist, whatever the type of thing you want to become. So obviously if you're writing NEET, it means that you want to become a doctor. So please keep this thing in your mind. So future doctors who have already done, who are already studying, who have done the examinations, waiting for the results, this message is for every person, right? So please keep service as the primary aim rather than making money, especially in a noble profession like doctors, where it involves with the human life. Please keep in mind that keep service as the primary aim, serving humans, service to mankind. That should be your primary agenda, that should be your primary aim. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I personally wish all the best, as well as I pray for the well-being of all of you. So especially since this is a COVID time, stay safe, stay healthy, and do well.